Higher education responds to concerns. Correctional Service pays first installment for facility. And fallen rugby league players' wish fulfilled.
This is National Emtv News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for Wednesday's news. We begin this evening's bulletin with an issue that affects grade 12 school leavers around Papua New Guinea. The Department of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, who are in charge of initial online selection process, have clarified some issues surrounding the automated selection process. DHERS Secretary Father Jan Juba says the system is automated and they had 100% of all grade 12 students applying online. But parents and students have taken to social media and DHERS office claiming the online system has flaws. Emtv News spoke with Father Jan on the online selection and the concern raised by parents of grade 12 school leavers, with Adelaide Sirikskari bringing us tonight's special report.
The 2018 online program, while speeding up the selection process for tertiary institutions, also brought on issues related to the process. It is the start of 2019 and still students and parents gather at the DHERS office questioning the selection process.
My selection was withdrawn by the people from the office. That's why I am coming here to lodge my complaint at the office.
The online selection system was set up to ensure a fair selection process without the human error of money under the table deal, also saving DHERS and the institution 6 million kina. The automated system's numbers stating that 100% of the grade 12s applied online.
I want to, can you help or something like that? This is already addressed that issue. So the software provide transparency for the department, the way we allocate tests, provide confidence and transparency for the public, so the public can know how the children enter to higher education institution, not because of bribes or nepotism or one-talkies, no, because of academic merits.
According to DHERS, officers had been sent to the most rural parts of PNG to ensure secondary schools had all grade 12 students registered and applying online.
We created a manual and handbook for students, principals and the selectors, which were put on the website and were given electronically to everyone. And we provided a lot of awareness. So I hear some voices, people were not aware of that, or students were not aware. This is again incorrect information, because some high schools which were not picking up quickly, we sent staff 3 or 4 times.
So what could have gone wrong? Students were given 5 options and 3 months to do their selections, with DHERS even paying for an SMS blast across the digital mobile network.
So the students had a grace period of 70 hours to review their own marks, the subject they took it with the requirements of the institution. So during that time, over 90,000 changes took place. So to say that students didn't do it, I think they are looking for excuses, because we have evidence the students accessed it. We have evidence over 9,000 students changed their results, yeah?
Some students and parents say the online selection process has not been fair, especially given that some students who performed well in the national exams, scoring a GPA of 3 to 3.8, were not selected to the university or college of their choice.
Each institution had the software to their own disposal with the passwords, and they inserted the criteria and the quotas they want to offer for students. So students knew exactly what kind of combination of subjects they need and GPA to enter to the institution. So basically those who had good GPA, however, they were not selected, not because the software failed them or the institutions failed them, not at all, because we have limited spaces in the institutions of higher learning.
DHERS Secretary Father Jan saying those concerned should now inquire with respective institutions, as DHERS only caters for selections.
The Department of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, or our minister, we don't have the authority to select or enroll students. It's the task of the institution. So if a parent thinks his daughter or son is very good and should go to the institution applying, so what we created on the system, we created admission pool. So those students who are not selected, the marks are there, and the institution have access to those students. So for example, there could be a situation where students who were selected might decide not to turn up for registration. So there is a vacuum. So parents should talk to the registrar and principal or vice chancellors or president of those institutions. Say, look here, if there is a vacuum, can you consider my daughter and son? But we have no authority. So
while 100% of grade 12 students had applied, only 40% chose the option, allowing DHES to select an institution that will take them in for further studies.
I want to be selected to different programs if I am not selected to the 5 institutions which I wish to go. Because last year, for this year, but the last year students, 40% didn't say yes. Yeah, so this is one thing which we already learned. But Minister, that's his strategy. Always, he invites institutions to provide feedback.
But whilst the Department of Higher Education has defended the automated system, there is still an unknown number of students who have been affected and now scramble to look for a space to continue their higher education. Adelaide Sturrock's Kari, National MTV News.
Dewhurst also announced an increase in tertiary education study assistance scheme funding from 68 million to 72 million kina for this year. Secretary Father Jan Juba says the 68 million kina for the TESAS program was fully funded last year and distributed to all universities. This comes after MTV News received reports of students on TESAS scholarship not receiving portions of their program allowances.
And we distributed to all institutions of higher learning, all of them. This year, we will give funding to those institutions who will acquit, which will acquit for the funds received for the second semester. Our government is requesting that we will become more transparent. So institutions which will not acquit how the TESAs were used, the funds for students learning and teaching, how are used in the institution, if they will not acquit this year, they will not receive funds.
Morobe tertiary students have raised concerns over the increased school fees this year, saying this will affect continuing students this year. Morobe student representative Jonathan Mambere said many of the students come from rural areas and the parents cannot meet the set amount.
Morobe tertiary students assembled in front of the education office today to call on the government to lower university fees. Jonathan Mambere, Morobe student representative, said this year's increased fees has created problems for parents and students.
School fee increase and affecting plant you'll begin in straight in law. Morobe, not only in Morobe but Papua New Guinea as a whole. This last the mipla begin in Morobe, mipla sanap, namla kolimon government blomblalo, cut them down. Compulsory fee.
Over the years, government-run tertiary institutions did not receive the allocated funds in full, says the student representative. He said that has caused inconveniences for students attending government-run institutions and colleges. Parents have been bombarded with fee problems and still continue, says Mr. Mambere.
Display one blawari blol papa mama blom platu now pikini blom mipla na mipla lukim na mipla.
One Miti is a parent of a student attending UPNG. He says with the increased tuition fees, he cannot afford.
Mikisim new space long Morobe, man Mary, or papa mama long Morobe na mi askim you government long you not long release in some school fee long all pikini blom mipla.
Mary Bonigani, National MTV News, Lay.
You're at National MTV News. We'll be back with more after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The two boats reported missing between Medang and Manus at the end of December are yet to be found. The boats departed Medang on December 28 last year but failed to arrive in Manus. Authorities in Manus said a distress call was made by families of the passengers on board the boats, which included a mother and a child. Manus Police Commander Chief Inspector David Yapu said the last contact made by people on the missing boats was near Karkar in Medang. Alerts have been sent out to all shipping vessels travelling on waters between Manus and Medang. Laes Metropolitan Commander Anthony Wagambi Jr. is urging the general public to lay formal complaints to the Police Internal Investigation Unit if and when aggrieved by police officers. This follows a number of complaints being expressed on social media. Officer in charge of the IIU, Detective Inspector Isaac Moll, said not many people are aware of how to go about in reporting officers.
This is the Lay Police Internal Investigation Unit. The unit has 3 officers and serves the Metropolitan and Provincial Commands. The IIU is responsible for investigating shootings, deaths, serious offences and allegations involving police. Detective Inspector Isaac Moll is the unit's officer in charge.
We registered the complaint by obtaining the statements and collecting necessary evidence and compile the statements, and we deal with them as the offending officer.
In the past 2 years, there has been a decline in the number of complaints received at the IIU in Lay from 70 in 2017 to 41 in 2018. Last year, 5 officers were arrested and charged for criminal offences, 2 were convicted and sentenced, and 23 were given serious disciplinary charges.
Most of the cases are police brutality.
Mr. Moll says, however, that the general public are not too aware of the processes involved in reporting officers. Complaints can either be made at the duty counter or directly at the IIU office. With the widespread use of social media, there have been a lot of posts regarding police officers' conducts.
They can come forward to report the IIU office, so we can deal with the members' behavior.
Lays Metropolitan Commander Anthony Wagambi Jr. says a formal complaint has to be laid with the IIU for officers to be investigated.
And then if they find that there's evidence to proceed criminally, they will arrest a member. If it's a discipline matter, they will process disciplinary administrative paperwork for me to sign, and they will have them dealt with administratively.
Mr. Wagambi is urging the general public to lay formal complaints when aggrieved and also use the toll-free number to report cases.
In this command here, we want to work with the public to ensure that we deliver services which ensure that their safety is guaranteed. And then also by doing that, we want to do it professionally, by not breaking the law ourselves. That's why the Internal Affairs is here to ensure that that is being done.
Lucy Kopana, National Emtv News, Lay.
2 million kina has been paid by the Correctional Service to landowners of Mukurumanda in Enga Province. This payment is for the construction of a new CS facility in the area.
The first installment of the total proposed 4.6 million for a correctional facility at Mukurumanda in Enga was paid today by the Correctional Service to landowners. According to CS Acting Commissioner Stephen Pokanis, the development of the Mukurumanda facility will also help in lowering the cost associated with moving prisoners to other provinces.
By helping Jumial get a correctional service, business long, law and order, no long correctional service that's all. But then by helping Jumial get a long, stereotype the Labanis, na mi play movie mall, Kalamus long Yumi, Enga provincial staff long, Baisu, Stalong, Barawaki, long Simbu. Long Enga province.
Wapenamanda MP and Foreign Affairs Minister Rimbing Pato said the project had his full support and was hopeful of working closely with the Correctional Service and the landowners to see this through.
That we complete the project, and of course on behalf of the people of Wapenamanda and as member for that electorate, you have my fullest support, and I will give every support that the CIS facility and your management team requires.
Landowner representative Andrew Kia said landowners had been pushing for the Mukurumanda project for some time and thanked current acting commissioner Stephen Pokanis for his efforts to progressing this project.
Over time, the current I'm almost out of an action. The Honorable Minister talking you action in claim plan. As acting commissioner, I'm moving action, but how am I giving priority? I'm stop here.
Tamara Pia Agavi, National Emtv News.
According to Acting Commissioner Stephen Pokanis, 30 million kina has been allocated for the construction and refurbishment of CS institutions around the country this year. Some of the 2019 CS projects are the development of a 48-man dormitory and mess for the Lucky Mata in West New Britain, the construction of staff housing and refurbishment of the Buimo facility in Morbe, Giligili in Milimbe, Beyond in Medang, Barawagi in Simbu, and the Lorengau jail in Manus.
It's what we can do with what we have. So how best we maximize the first allocation that was given this year. I think it gives more responsibility to Correctional Service on what is the best approach or options that we can take so that we have maintenance not only focused in only one house clubs but spread throughout all the correctional institutions.
The autonomous Bougainville government has submitted a budget of 185 million kina to the national government for its programs over the next 12 months. ABG Finance Minister Robin Wilson presented the autonomous region's money plan to National Treasurer Charles Abel today. With 2019 a crucial year for the island region, especially with the impending political referendum, the ABG has taken a cautious approach in how it manages its finances.
Autonomous Bougainville Government Finance Minister Robin Wilson was in Port Moresby today to present the ABG's 2019 budget to Treasury. The 2019 budget framed against a backdrop of a very busy year for the autonomous region as it prepares for a political referendum in June this year. According to Minister Wilson, the budget is based on actual funding from grants as well as from internal revenue.
On the grants, we are receiving 141,989,700 from the national government in recurrent grants, and from donor agencies we are looking at 9 million, particularly for policing. On the internal revenue front, we are anticipating that we will generate up to 22 million this year, and with rollover funds we anticipate to carry over 33 million in internal revenue for this year.
Whilst the ABG budget includes grant funding of 141 million kina, a concern has been raised on the omission of restoration development grants to Bougainville through the 2019 national budget passed by the Parliament.
From a leadership point of view, we are basically pegging it on some omissions on the part of the preparation of the budget. So I am optimistic that the two governments can fix this in the near future, and any possible strain in our relationship can be ironed out.
Treasurer Charles Abel, in receiving the budget from ABG, acknowledged the progress being made by the Bougainville administration, especially with 2019 being a busy year for the island region with the referendum later this year.
So we remain committed to provincial governments, we remain committed to the ABG, and we understand that we've got a very important year this year in relation to the referendum, and we are all committed through our Prime Minister and President Momis to fulfilling those commitments, including and enabling a properly conducted referendum, because that was something we committed to in the Bougainville Peace Agreement.
According to Minister Abel, the omission of RDG funding through the 2019 national budget was an error on the part of Treasury, with Minister Abel assuring the ABG that funding arrangements would be sorted out.
Further, I want to say that I'm also disappointed that the RDGs were not factored in the budget. And I would say at the outset that that is a mistake. That is a mistake and should not have happened. It's one of the errors, of a couple of errors that we've seen in the budget papers, and I've expressed those concerns to Treasury already, that it was certainly not a political intention to have that omission there. And we will do what it takes to make sure that that is replaced in one way or the other, because it was certainly not an instruction to have that excluded.
Minister Abel also called on the ABG to also work closely with donor partners to ensure that programs being run by these agencies were in line with the priorities of the autonomous Bougainville government.
Just like the national government does, there's got to be some attempt for this alignment and some attempt to capture those fundings in your budgets, even if it's a little bit inaccurate, because they must come through and work within our system and our processes according to our priorities. They are not government or unto themselves, or they're working in a sovereign nation and they need to align themselves and dialogue with us, and those programs must be jointly endorsed and factored through our budgets. That's how it's supposed to work.
Mary Batulo, National Emtv News.
The minor eruption of Manam volcano yesterday may have subsided, but the Rabaul Volcanological Observatory has issued a warning that the volcano is still dynamic and volatile. Yesterday's eruption produced lava flows and ashes with imminent threats of ongoing eruption based on the assessment reports. On-ground reports indicate that the villages of Warisi and Kolangwan have suffered extensive damages to their water sources following yesterday's eruption. The Rabaul Observatory has also issued warnings of possible mud flows that may be caused by ashes and scoria deposits along the valleys during heavy rains. The Madang Provincial Disaster Office has been put on notice to monitor the situation on the affected areas until the eruption cease. National Emtv News will be back with more after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. The National Weather Service is calling on Milne Bay Province to be on the lookout as strong winds may be experienced in the province. Director Samuel Maiha told MTV, though Tropical Cyclone Penny in Australia is moving away, its effects may be felt. Patricia Kiyama with the details.
The effects of Tropical Cyclone Penny may have passed over most of PNG, but not for some provinces. According to the National Weather Service, the New Guinea Islands region and Milne Bay Province will experience strong winds in the coming weeks. Director of National Weather Service, Samuel Maiha says, Milne Bay will be affected as the cyclone passes on.
I think there are some areas like the Milne Bay and New Guinea Islands where the strength of the winds still warrant the strong wind warning.
Maiha said there has been a reduce of rainfall on the mainland of PNG, but not for the New Guinea Islands. Heavy rainfall may continue.
Western New Britain in particular, they are, due to the orographic effect, I think they are experiencing a lot of rain and also flooding.
Maiha said a lot of factors contribute to the changing of weather pattern, and the weather may change in the next couple of weeks. Patricia Kiamo, National Emtv News.
West New Britain is one province experiencing heavy rainfall in the past 2 weeks. The public travelling between Kimbe and Biala are affected as flooding has washed away a temporary bridge built during last year's floods. A community leader says a proper bridge must be built to withstand the forces of nature. He also expressed concerns of food gardens and cash crops being washed away by flood.
All works, we are talking about works or some. By building one permanent bridge or that, so all still workers and millions kilo national government, provincial government work waste to the bridge. Mipla wo tok. Tasolo na tok. Also na mipla national government na provincial government lo yumi lo West Britain na lo ba oli working on titi na ba oli gonna fight tok pa lo for the payment bridge because this is bridge tasol. Awara tasol MCV mipla because all Pablo plana katok. All tikini ba go school ya look at money now.
West New Britain Governor Sasindran Mutuvel is urging the national government to build permanent bridges for Ivule and Tiaru in Biala. Governor Mutuvel said the two bridges were overlooked in the bridges replacement program in 2018, despite the bridges playing an important part of New Britain Highway and the economy of the province. A Japanese engineering company is working to formulate a credible engineering documentation for a permanent bridge. Turning overseas to the United States, where President Donald Trump has appealed directly to the American people for support for his wall on the Mexico border. In a live broadcast, President Trump described the situation as a humanitarian and security crisis.
Live from the Oval Office, President Trump upping the ante.
My fellow Americans, tonight I am speaking to you because there is a growing humanitarian and security crisis at our southern border.
Tonight claiming American lives are at risk due to an immigrant crisis at the southern border.
Thousands of Americans have been brutally killed by those who illegally entered our country, and thousands more lives will be lost if we don't act right now.
Appealing directly to the American people to fund his wall.
This barrier is absolutely critical to border security. It's also what our professionals at the border want and need. This is just common sense. The border wall would very quickly pay for itself.
And blaming Democrats for the deadlock.
The federal government remains shut down for one reason, and one reason only, because Democrats will not fund border security.
President Trump needs $5.7 billion to begin construction, but the Democrats remain steadfast, beaming in to counterattack from Capitol Hill.
President Trump has appealed to fear, not facts, division, not unity.
In telling America the president's crisis is manufactured.
The president is rejecting these bipartisan bills which would reopen government over his obsession with forcing American taxpayers to waste billions of dollars on an expensive and ineffective wall, a wall he always promised Mexico would pay for.
So the impasse remains. The government shutdown now on its 18th day. 800,000 federal employees in a third week without pay, like Christine Vitale, who's still required to work at the TSA.
I could go probably one more pay period without getting paid, but most people can't go one more day.
But with both sides digging in, there is no end to this government shutdown in sight.
The Australian government says it will carefully consider granting asylum to the Saudi teenager who attempted to escape her home country. There are fears that the teenager won't be safe until she's made it to a third country after she barricaded herself in a Thai hotel room to prevent being deported.
There was a global sigh of relief when Rahaf Mohammed Al Kanan emerged from her Bangkok hotel room under the care of the UN Refugee Agency, but not yet completely out of harm's way.
I don't think she'll be totally safe until she is in a third country, and that's because, we've seen, in other cases, the reach of the Saudi state on foreign soil.
Her asylum claim is being processed after she barricaded herself in the room to prevent her deportation back to Saudi Arabia, live tweeting her ordeal and prompting a worldwide outcry. She says she fears her family will kill her as she'd renounced Islam. The 18-year-old was originally on her way here to Australia to claim asylum. Last night, the government said it would carefully consider her application if the UNHCR determines she's a genuine refugee.
There is no special treatment in this case. The case will be assessed by the United Nations, and it doesn't therefore make it different to any other case of that nature.
Saudi and Thai officials have met in Bangkok. The Saudis say they're not demanding her return and that it's a family matter. Alkanan's father and brother are now in Thailand wanting to see her.
The meeting can only take place under the permission of the UNHCR.
The teens appealed for help from other countries too, her story now being used to highlight the plight of others.
This is what many refugees go through, and glad that this time the world is listening to an individual, and through that individual we can tell or convey the story that this is what happens to refugees all around the world.
But for now, Rahaf Muhammad Al-Kanan remains in limbo, her fate in the hands of others.
Chukai Sports is next. Don't go away.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. It has been 1 year since PNG Komol flyer Kato Otio passed away. Today, a new house for his mother officially opened, fulfilling a wish by the late rugby league star.
One year on from his death, the rugby league fraternity gathered once again at Tatana village to commemorate the life of Kato Otio. It had been Otio's dream to build his mother a house. This dream, now a reality, one after his death. The dream house finally opened and handed over to his mother today. SPPNG Hunters chairman Graham Osborne was given the honor to officially open the house. The house took under 9 months to complete, a spectacular 3-bedroom house with the Canberra Raiders lime green interior, the club Kato played for in the Australian NRL. A poster of Otio with the Widnes Vikings logo in the background was placed in the corner of the house. An emotional time for everyone as they walked through what was a man's dream. Kato's mother, Joyce Otio, was grateful for all the support shown from the Canberra Raiders, Widnes Vikings and the PNG RFL.
Well, I have to give that honor to these three clubs, PNG RFL and Vikings, Raiders. I have to give praise and honor to them too for blooming up a child like that. And it's a challenge to others.
Today also saw the unveiling of the headstone at Otio's final resting place. Men, women and children gathered around to catch a glimpse of the headstone behind the fenced tomb. The headstone unveiled by Kato Otio's namesake.
Not only in rugby league, he also represented PNG in volleyball. And also represented PNG in AFL under 16.
It seemed like it was only yesterday since the passing of what was a superstar of the code. Otio may be gone, but he has left a legacy which will live on for generations.
But my son has given me something that I didn't experience in my life. But I thank God that worked through him and he gave me a Christmas and New Year present. And I'm very happy to live in a nice house.
Elijah Levet, National Emtv Sports.
To local football, NSL first-timers Kagua Erave FC has received support from a local construction company. Construct Oceanic Limited presented funding of 60,000 kina to help prepare the club for the 2019 NSL season. Club spokesperson Albert Veratao says it's not about participating but improving and growing the code in the district and the province of Southern Highlands.
A short but very significant presentation was held this morning to back Kagua Erave's dream of participating in the NSL competition in 2019. Local business Construct Oceanic Limited now stand to support the initiative and provide opportunities to youths in the district to grow and support football.
Government is going into restoration and all this as part of the restoration process to at least change the mindset of our people. And after that, we can talk about the 2020 PNG Games.
Football is not commonly played in places like Kagua Erave. For a change, the district authority is now paving way with a junior development program to support football. The local MP says there is potential to identify talents to back the club.
football in all the elementary schools. Most of the elementary school in Kagua, especially around the station area and in Erave area. So football is going good as well. So with other of my brothers in the parliament, other leaders there, I think we should promote it. Whichever sport is good.
About 13 local players have been selected during the trials last week and are in Goroka for training. Other players will be selected from competitions around the country to guide the club and improve skill development. The financial support is the first received by the club.
The idea is to balance the team so that we have enough development happening at the local, at the district level, where we create a pipeline of players coming through. And
a final team will be announced, with the club also calling for other sponsors to come on board. Jack Lapave Jr., National MTV Sports.
Chukai Sports continues with more after these messages. Stay tuned.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome back to Chukai Sports. It's all set despite the challenges faced. The 2018-2019 Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup is ready to finish off the tournament on a high note. In a media conference today, Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup CEO Timothy Lepa said the tournament has been progressing well.
So far, challenges have been completed for Western Highlands, Chimbu, Jiwaka, Eastern Highlands, Kainantu, NCD and Morobe challenges.
Some other playoffs in Papua New Guinea already completed. On the first release you can see about 16 gold passes already issued. And then after completing all the competitions around Papua New Guinea, we'll have 24 gold passes.
The Enga and Southern Highlands challenges are yet to be completed this week. Competition CEO Timothy Lepa said with the inclusion of teams from other centers, this will add a different dimension to the popular off-season tournament.
Here we had many players throughout Papua New Guinea. For the first time we have reached, we're going to Tunga for the no-fly challenge. And then New Guinea Islands playoff will be in Kimbe, and that's following weekend. And Kimbe, Tabubil, not fly, low fly, and Western playoff will be at Tunga this weekend.
After the challenges are completed, 24 teams will be split into two ends. 12 teams fighting in the western end in Goroka, while the other 12 in Minj from the eastern end for the final 4 places to be crowned.
Teams in Wapinamanda, teams in Enga Challenge, they will not play off in the eastern end in Wapinamanda, but they will play in Goroka. And teams in Goroka, Simbuk will play up in Wapinamanda. Teams in Lei come and play out. That we're moving all the teams around to.
According to Lepa, he said the finals will be played in neutral ground to avoid conflict.
For the finals format is different. What we're doing is that most of the times, up in islands, when you're playing your home ground, you have a different type of strength. It's typical islands. Mr. Ground, how would you beat me?
Lepa says tournament organizers are hoping the finals will be held early February. Podivai, National MTV Sports.
A total of 24 gold passes will be presented to teams that have won respective challenges in the Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup. So far, 18 teams have received gold pass for the various legs in the Ipatas Cup challenge. Today, CEO Timothy Lepa presented a gold pass to Jaka Raiders, the winners of Eastern Highlands leg, and another to Jaka Miners, winners of the Simbu challenge. Suli Suli with the details.
The 2 Jaka investment-sponsored teams are amongst 18 other teams who have secured a spot in the CCIC finals. Jaka Raiders and Jaka Miners are sponsored by a local businessman who has been a passionate supporter of the tournament for over 5 years. CCIC CEO Timothy Lepa commended Jacob Kai for his support in sponsoring both teams who successfully secured a place in the Major Cup Challenge.
Businessman, but I'm got the hard law, all the youth now, law around the island area, so I'm supporting them. He's everywhere supporting them in terms of, daily funding, KK, and accommodation, and all logistic what I'm supposed to make him. Been doing for many years. Now, planning time, I'm not section on the goal pass. I'm so walking gonna Emato combat. Come 2019, it was a good year where I'm making through Tubla playoffs, Eastern Islands and Simbu.
Jacob Kai, Jaka Investment Managing Director, registered 3 teams in the 2018 and 2019 Ipatus Cup. Kai says 2019 is a special year for him as it is the first for his teams to win a gold pass and the CEO Messi pass.
All these times the Mino come through the finals now. Now it happens that them as Ia Blomi or kind of send a mix him Tubla gold pass blow Eastern Islands, Goroga Challenge, na blow Chimbu Challenge. Na Mia mas through some all teams blow by go finals.
He says his teams who have taken part in the tournament have also produced some of PNG's Rugby League stars like Justin Olam as well as some Intercity Cup players.
Mid development plenty players, all product blomi, all go play overseas kind of some Justin Olam and play lo Jaka Knights, one player blumble go play los down south start. Na suba kokoto captain lo Enga Miox and player blomi product lo Jaka Okapox. Na plenty all players too all go play lo Intercity stuff.
Kai said he is excited to take the gold pass home for his teams and is looking forward to the cup finals in 2 weeks' time. Suli, National Emtv Sports.
And that story wraps up True Kai Sports. Stay tuned for weather details coming up next.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region, showers in Port Moresby, Daru and Alotau, rain and thunderstorms in Popondetta and showers and rain drizzles in Kirima. In the Mamasa region, showers in Ley and Wau, rain and thunderstorms in Medang, Wewak and Whanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, showers in Lorengau, Kokoporabao, Kimbe and Buka and rain and thunderstorms in Kavieng. And in the Highlands region, showers in Mount Hagen with morning fog, and in Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, occasional rain and morning fog.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And that's been the news, sport and weather for Wednesday, 9th of January 2019. From the entire news team, pleasant viewing and good night.